Hi everyone, it's Nicole here from Sydney English Teacher and from the Successful English Learner by Sydney English Teacher. And I'd like to welcome you to episode 12 of my Question of the Day series. I hope you've been enjoying the series so far, that I've answered a lot of your questions, and that you've learned a lot of great practical learning tips. I'm back today with another great question which a lot of people ask me. And the question is, how do I stop translating in my head? That's a great question because, it's something that each and every person does, whether you're learning English or Japanese or Spanish or French or Italian, it doesn't matter what language you are learning. You will automatically translate in your head into your own language or from your own language into the new language. It's a completely natural and normal step. But obviously, we don't want to do that forever. So, today I'm going to tell you about what you can do to stop the translation in your head, to stop relying so much on translating everything, and how to start, I suppose, becoming more confident in your own skills and trusting that you understand what you hear, what you read, or that what you're about to say is accurate. So let's have a look about what we can do to stop translating in our head. Number one, I'd like you to introduce English only days. What does that mean? Well, it means that you want to spend the entire day surrounded by only English. Even if you live in a country where English is not spoken, it is possible to do this. Okay, so choose one day a week, one day a month, depending on your time, but one day a week would be perfect to have an English only day, and make sure that you're surrounded by only English that day. You know, everything that you hear on the TV, on the radio should be in only English. Everything that you read, newspaper articles, the internet, magazines, books should be only in English. Whenever you speak, it should be only in English. Whenever you write on that day, it should be only in English. So you're going to force yourself for that one day to be surrounded by English all day long. And believe me, the more you do this, the more often you do this, the more you will start thinking in English, and that translation in your head will automatically stop. That's the key, okay? So introduce English only days. And if it's impossible to have a full day of only English, then introduce English only sessions where you spend a number of hours surrounded by only English. Maybe 6 hours, maybe 5 hours, maybe four, maybe three. It doesn't really matter. But introduce those English only days or those longer English only sessions into your day, into your week, into your month, and that translation will automatically turn off because you're surrounding yourself by English more and more. And English is becoming what should I say, the normal language, I suppose. Number two, another tip is learn English vocabulary in English only from the very beginning. What do I mean by that? when you're learning a new word or a new expression, okay, I'd like you to learn it only in English. From that very first moment, that very first step, don't translate. Don't use the dictionary to translate. If you're going to use a dictionary, use the English dictionary so that you think in English. But don't translate from the very beginning. Because if you translate this new word or expression into your own language at the very beginning, when you want to learn that word, you will always rely on translation. And we don't want that. So don't translate from the very beginning. Learn it in English only from the very beginning. How do you do that? Get a good English dictionary. Keep a notebook and write the definition of that word or expression in English only. Think in English only about how you can write it down. Then practice maybe writing a sentence using that word in English only. And force yourself to use this word in English as often as you can. When you're writing, when you're speaking, if you do that, and you, from the very beginning, are thinking and processing and using this word in only English, that translation will stop. That need to translate will turn off. And that's the goal. That's what we want. So learn it in English only. It might be more difficult and it might take longer, but the results will be so much better. Next tip is start the punish reward system. Now, what is this punish and reward system that I'm talking about? What I want you to do is to take note whenever you do translate in your head. Keep a tally. Write down the number of times you do that per day, or put a sticker on a piece of paper, and add that up. By the end of the day, maybe you've done it 10 times, 20 times. When you reach a particular number, like 10, 20, 50, 100, then you want to take away something that you really, really wanted. So maybe you wanted to go to the cinema. Don't do that. Maybe you wanted to, I don't know, buy some new clothing. Don't do that. So you are punishing yourself because you translated too often in your head. Let's put a spin on that and make it more positive. And instead, do the opposite. Instead, take note every day that you don't translate in your head. Keep a tally, write down the number, put down some stickers if you prefer, and then reward yourself with something that you really, really want as a congratulations for not translating. Obviously, don't do that for every single time. Again, choose a number. If I don't translate for I don't know, a full day, then I get takeaway. If I don't translate for 5 full days, then I can buy myself a new book, things like that. So sit down, write down some goals, and think about how you're going to punish and reward yourself. Sounds funny, but it actually really works. Number 4, the fourth tip I have for you today is speak to yourself whenever you can. Okay, speaking to yourself in English is a really, really good thing, because if you speak in English as often as possible, you won't speak in your own language. You're taking away time from your own language, and English will become that natural voice. You don't need to speak out loud. You can speak in your head, okay? So speak to yourself in your head in English. And English will become the natural inner voice inside your head. How can you do that? Narrate your day. Say what you're doing. Say what you're doing. Say your actions. Say what you're planning, what you're thinking of doing. Say what you've done in the past. Say words that you see when you see objects. Say them in your head in English. You can say them out loud too if you want to, but in your head is absolutely fine. And if you do this and constantly narrate your day, you will replace the need to translate. You will replace that automatic translation. Why? Because your English voice is heard more often than your original native tongue voice. Does that make sense? So you're replacing that inner monologue, if you want to call it, with English. And the more you hear English out loud or in your head, the more natural it will become. And I guarantee that you will translate less and less and less. And in the process, you'll become a better communicator. You'll become more confident. So let's have a quick look here at the key points that I'd like you to remember from today's episode. Number one, have English only days, okay? Surround yourself by the English language, even if you're in a non English speaking country. If you do this, the translation into your mother tongue will automatically stop. Next, learn new words, new expressions in only English from the very start. If you translate into your language from the very beginning, you have no chance because that word will always be associated with the translation. So, think in English from the very beginning. Use the word and expression in English from the very beginning, and there will be no need to translate. That translation won't happen automatically. Next, introduce the punish and reward system. Punish yourself for translating too often, reward yourself for not translating very often. And believe me, that's one of the most motivating things. This is what is done with children. If they don't brush their teeth, you put stickers on a piece of paper, or you write the number, the tally on a piece of paper, and you reward them when they reach a particular number, they will brush their teeth. It's the same with learning a language. If you punish yourself or reward yourself for translating or not translating, you will improve, and that translation will happen less and less and less. Finally, speak to yourself in English. Narrate your day. Make sure that inner voice inside your head is mainly in English. Say what you're seeing, say what you're doing, say what you're thinking in English, whether you do it out loud or in your head, it doesn't matter. But speaking to yourself is very important because it will allow you to replace that inner voice with your inner English voice. Here's a quick bonus tip for you. Look, it's important to remember that language learning takes time. Okay. And translation is a normal step in the language learning process. Everybody does it. But as you get better and better, translation will become less and less as you move to the next step in your language skills and in your confidence. You will rely on translation less than you did at the beginning. So the need to translate will disappear as you become more confident in English and as you surround yourself by the English language more and more and more. So that's something good to remember. Don't be angry with yourself because you translate. Just realize that it's a normal process and that as you progress, as you improve and move to the next step, the need to translate will reduce. Sounds great, doesn't it? So, if you have any questions or requests for topics you'd like me to talk about, please get in touch either by email, messenger, in the comments below, or at this link, sydneyenglishteacher.com.au/ask a question, and I'll be more than happy to include your request, your topic, in a future episode. If you really enjoy learning with me and feel that I'm able to help you improve your English skills and confidence, come and join my learning community. I've got a wonderful website and blog filled with incredible learning opportunities. Of course, my online learning courses and learning library are coming really, really, really soon. More information soon. And my great Facebook page has 10 to 12 learning updates and mini lessons every day. The Facebook group is where you will find lots of personalized help, feedback. Practice opportunities, and the YouTube channel has hundreds of learning videos on all areas of the English language. So come and join my learning community if you're not part of it yet. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode and you learned a lot of tips about how to stop translating in your head. If you found it helpful and you'd like to help your family and friends, please share this video with them as well. I'd love to help them become more confident English communicators, just like you. So thank you, everyone. Come back tomorrow because tomorrow's episode is a great one. Have a wonderful day and thank you for listening.